and we got the part, we come in, we work on the show, and then that's it. Maybe it's a little bit of a hit. Maybe a couple people are like, oh, that's my favorite video game, or I love watching that dub of that series, you were really great in it. But then there are other shows, like, I don't know, Full Metal Alchemist, for example, where you get a role and it's such a big success and it becomes so very popular and it becomes a very special title and a storyline and endeared characters that amazing voice actors embody and bring life to. And then, you know, you have moments like that. Or a show like Miraculous Ladybug, like Tiki, right? Where you get to play the greatest Kwame of them all.
Actually, that's true.
Yeah, that's true. That's right. That's right. And it's a show that's not quite the same audience as an anime because it kind of attracts a younger audience, and it also can attract the parents or the grandparents for an older audience. And you know, a lot of the older anime fans grew up watching anime. It's not like all of a sudden, you know, they're watching, well, now it is all of a sudden, but back at a time you had to either buy the DVD or maybe go to Japan and come back with the DVDs, or the VHS tapes, right? So I knew that there were these things out there that were popular anime titles, right? I'd heard about them. You know, there's Full Metal Alchemist I already mentioned, and there's Bleach, or there's Death Note, there's Attack on Titan, right? None of us, I mean, you guys are in those shows, I'm in none of those shows. So anyway, I was like, I want to audition, so I'm auditioning for that next job, always auditioning for that next job. And then I got an opportunity to voice or audition for Kaname. And it was just kind of basic, like he's just a subdued kind of evil, controlling character. And they had to, and I'm super duper animated, like my voice goes all over the place, I've got a ton of energy, and they're like, Ezra, bring it down. Ezra, bring it down. Bring it down. Bring it down. I'm like, what do you mean bring it down? Huh? I can bring it down. They're like, no, really though. What we really mean is please bring it down. So I was like, okay. Well, this is like, and then any bit of my lines were always told to be brought down by a really incredible director, Christy Reed, who worked brilliantly with all three of us and everybody in the cast. And when I found out that I got that part, and that it wasn't just I usually get these roles, by the way, everyone. I get the role of anyone who wears a white lab coat. So a scientist, maybe sometimes a chemistry teacher, sometimes I'm a dad who's a scientist or a chemistry teacher. Like I get those kinds of roles. They're smaller parts, they're important, right? But they're a trustworthy guy or, you know, some fatherly figure. And then here, I was very surprised that I got the role of Kaname, and I thought for sure I would lose it. Like I'd start working on it and I'd be like, you're fired. You know what I mean? Just get out of there. So when I did get the role, and I was always told to like keep my performance low, I was questioning the direction all the time. Not that our director wasn't steering our performance in the right way. I just felt like, is there anything to my performance? Because this guy is brilliant all the time. This one was a phenom out of the gate, and I'm like, and I'm doing scenes with them. They're not in the room like Mela said, but I'm like responding to their dialogue, right? And I'm like, wow, they're really good, okay. So it was a huge surprise when we got the phone call or the emails that they wanted us to come to Comic-Con because they knew, well, you knew already, but they knew that Vampire Knight was gonna be a sort of a in-demand big title. And Viz Media arranged for the three of us, right, to have Zero and Kaname and Yuki all make an appearance because that's what the fans would want to see. We didn't know. And then, like Mela said, at Comic-Con, in the giant like Viz Media Center in the convention hall, they put us out on these podiums and they had all this merch out. And this was the first time I ever saw merch with my character that I voiced on it. And by the way, I'm gonna share with you that whenever I go into the vendor hall, you know my eyes are like scanning for anything I've done that's like in a figurine form. I'm like, where's my eyes? Is that nothing? Nobody. I'm not here. I should leave. Why am I in this business? Right? All that kind of stuff. Right? But I will go around and I'll see anybody who is in Vampire Knight cosplay. I'll walk over to them, the geek that I am, the weirdo jerk that I am. I'll be like, you like Vampire Knight? They're like, duh. I voice Kaname. And they're like, I'm sorry, I only watch the subs. I'm like, oh, I'm such a fool, kill me. Kill me, kill me. And then my kids, when I'll go to like Anime Expo or somewhere, and I'm with my kids, and they're like, Dad, there's a Vampire Night. There's Vampire Night cosplay. I'm like, okay, cool. And I'll be like, hey, cool cosplay.
Yeah, but can't take the pain.
And they're like, what is this old man talking to me? I am clearly 14 years old. Get away. Get away. It's very embarrassing, and my kids think it's hilarious to watch me crumble and suffer. But it was so much fun to be able to look, Vic is really special to be around, especially at an anime convention. To work with him privately in the booth, it's always great. To work with Mela, it's always great. Mela and I both recognized, like, Vic, it knows just how special you all are.
Yeah.
And he gives such commitment to himself to make your experience so special. And we were like, wait a second, we're on a show with Vic, that means maybe we'll get to do some conventions every now and then with Vic. And even when he's at a convention and I'm there as an attendee, like you all are, I'll be like, hey Vic, hey, hey, hey Vic. He's like, hey. But he's like, I got 1,000,000 people around me. And it is just so much fun, and I've learned so much from being at conventions, because Mel and I have grown up in our careers and making appearances at
You
conventions.
practically raised me.
Yeah, you're
From when I
yeah.
was a little boy, and she was Caster Shikigami. What was the one where the first time I ever played a little boy was you were like, you could do a boy.
Yeah, she definitely
You
can.
could voice a boy, and I was
Yeah.
like, I could.
Yeah. Yeah, you can. And one last thing, and then it's all yours, and we are all yours. But Vic mentioned you sometimes, if it's something you're passionate about and you really love, you'll find a way to get there, right?
Yes.
Well, Vic and I were recording on a project, and he needed to fly in for this project, and he is incredibly professional, and he's like, I will be there. I was like, are you sure you're gonna come from Texas? I will be there, I will be there. He got there, he recorded his session, he was on time, he was brilliant, he was finished early, and then afterwards he says, oh, Ezra, well, I'll do my Vic. Oh, Ezra, my flight was, got canceled, and I had to go to San Diego, and then from San Diego I had to rent a car and I had to drive here. I was like, what did you do? You could have called him and been like, I can't make it, can we reschedule for another day? He's like, no, we had an appointment, and I keep my appointments, and you know, I wasn't gonna interfere with your schedule, and he did not, and he was brilliant, and that's the kind of sacrifice and commitment he has to being excellent all the time. So give it up for Vic, please. I did not forget that. I did not forget that. I did not forget that at all.
You guys, I just want you to know that
We love you.
I love you guys. You know that. I want you to know that I cannot overstate, I'm repeating myself, but I can't overstate how much it means to be here with these guys, and always you. But I so rarely, you know, as we've talked about, we record alone. So we're not in a studio with somebody. I always kind of smile when somebody goes, so, what's it like to record with Johnny Bosch? And I'm like, well, I love Johnny,
Yeah.
but we don't record together. Anime voice actors don't ever record together. So unless you happen to pass each other in the hallway, you're not gonna maybe even meet some of the people you work with. But after having the chance to work with Mela and Ezra over the years, and then to find out that they were gonna be here this weekend, I could not be happier. This has been one of the best weekends in a long time for me. And thank you guys for being a part of it, a very important part of it.
Somebody, probably at this convention, tweeted at me that Vic and Mela were here at this convention, and they're like, what about Lord Kaname? How come? And I was like, yeah, what about Lord Kaname? And I was like, hold on a minute, because I do not do a lot of conventions. I normally, on the weekends, I like to run. I run marathons and half
Casually.
marathons. I'm
Oh my
a
gosh,
marathon.
guys.
I'm a running coach. I like to be with that community, and I like people to be active and find a level of fitness and just, positivity in their life, and I find that through movement. So my weekends are usually dedicated to being with my running club and that sort of running family. So I don't really pursue a lot of conventions, but when I saw this happening, I sent an email back to Bake Anime, and I was like, hey, you have Yuki and you have Zero there. Again, it's me being like, excuse me, but I've always Kaname. Sorry about the, didn't know if you, right? And I was like, so you may want to have the three of us and we can do an unofficial reunion for Vampire Night, which has never happened other than the time we were all together at Comic-Con when the title launched for the DVDs. And then within an hour, I got a response back from the social media team, and they're like, hold on a second, let's see what we can do. And then a few minutes later, they're like, we actually had a cancellation. And then Steve, the incredible director of this convention, he contacted me and he's like, yeah, so we can make that happen. Yeah, we can do that. Can you do that? I was like, yes, I can do that. And that is why we are here for you.
And you guys, when you get home, drop a message.
Yeah.
Speak positive words. Drop a note to the people that run Back Anime and thank them for bringing us in so that we could be here with you this weekend, okay?
And do it again
People
next
need
year.
to be encouraged to know that they did something nice, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do that, please. And you guys, if you ever need to know what it's like to be super fit, this guy.
Or that guy.
Like I literally plan my weekends on. I wonder what marathon Ezra's winning this weekend.
Wait, I never won one
Like,
of them. Like,
literally-
super fluffy and squishy.
I
Don't worry
can't
about
even
it.
believe it. Like it's amazing. Every time I see him post, I'm like, dang.
Yeah.
That guy is so awesome.
I make
I'm
you-
gonna go get a donut.
Yeah, you should be the director of Slack Anime.
Me and him, we're
Yeah, the
we're
two
doing
of you,
it.
two of
That's
you.
right. Because neither one of us has the energy to do it by ourselves.
That's right. It'll take a village.
So let's take questions from you
Yes.
guys. We want to open it up to anything anyone wants to ask, and we will do our best to answer. Okay?
Brooke Shields over here. Yes.
Yes.
So, Faye, if you were to ever be asked to go back for season 2 of Boron, this has been really circulating about that a lot in horror games recently. Would you do it?
Oh, commoner. Do you not know where my heart is? Oh my gosh, I would give anything in the world. I've said this a million times, and this will be 1,000,001. If I were rich, I would personally pay my money to make another season of Oron. I love that show, and Vampire Night for that matter. I would love, everybody comes up and they're like, the manga kept going and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, don't say that, because it would be so much fun to revisit these characters and to take the story further. So we'll just all keep our fingers and toes crossed that maybe somebody somewhere will decide to make another season, right?
Well, I did Fate Stay Night, like the first Fate Stay Night, and then maybe 10 years later, they finally got around to keeping it going. So, I mean, we're right on the cusp here. We could make this happen.
Yeah.
We could Vampire Night 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 12. We could do that.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Oh yeah, we're ready.
We could call it Vampire Next Day.
Vampire Dawn.
It's the sequel.
Vampire Dawn.
Kaname's Revenge. Question?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Did you enjoy voicing Matt, like from Digimon?
Oh man, Digimon's iconic.
Yeah.
Like I would pay you to let me, what I mean? When you get the chance to be part of something that's very Pokemon, Digimon, Yu-Gi-Oh, some of these shows that are just really helped bring anime to the forefront, quite honestly. All of the stuff that's been on broadcast television really helped bring anime into the mainstream. Back when I started, it was just this little fringe, little fringe kind of thing that not
Something
many people knew about.
Like a Gundam.
Yeah,
Something.
but then shows like Digimon and Pokemon and those kind of things, even Dragon Ball in many cases, went on television, and they were what kind of paved the way for anime being so mainstream. So it was an incredible privilege to be a part of Digimon. Absolutely.
Yes, Marissa.
Hi. Real quick. I just
Stand
wanna
up,
say-
please. We can't hear you.
I'm so sorry. Okay.
Put your glasses on. It's too bright in here.
Okay, hold on.
Turn around and show everyone your selection of
my
cosplay.
sunglasses at night.
Okay, I wrote it when
like shaking you guys. I'm so scared. And you're all so gorgeous. You're all gorgeous people. Personality, face, everything. I'm scared. Anyways, one of my favorite things from Vampire Night is when you guys say your own character's lines and like your names and each other's names. So I was wondering if you guys could do that right now in character, please. If you want to.
Or your favorite, like, so say our favorite line and
No,
then
just
say
your-
the name.
Just say our names?
Yeah, just your character's name. It doesn't even matter. I don't. You can say anything. I'm scared.
Okay.
I'm so scared. I love it.
My name is Ezra Weiss, and I voiced Lord Kaname Koran.
But can you also say their name?
No!
Please,
Marissa!
Please, Ezra, please.
This is Vic Manana, and he voices Zero and that other twin jerk brother of his that I don't remember the name of because I didn't pay attention to any of his other characters or storyline because Zero is trash to me. And you will always be mine. And this is Melanie, my sweet, beautiful rose in the snow, Yuki Cross. Good night, Marissa. Who else? That's it? And good night. Oh, no. What? Oh, wait, were we all supposed to say our names? Did you want to hear all
That's
of
what
them?
I wanted.
Oh my God,
Okay,
Marissa.
it's
Great.
only if you want to.
Marissa gets what she wants.
Say it, yes.
I'm not sure of my name. Blood and snow. That's all I remember. Zero, if you must. Kaname. He just makes me so nervous. And we all know who you really want to hear talk. So, Zero.
I'm Zero. I go to school with Kaname.
Yuki, if ever I turn into a level E, I want you to kill me. Or Kaname. But preferably Kaname.
Not canon. Not canon.
Cannon.
This is the OVA we're working on right
How
now.
was that?
And when we were in New Zealand, by the way, when he made up that scene, all he had to do was say, Yuki. Nothing else mattered. I think you actually had a sentence or two after that, but there was so much screaming in the stadium, it didn't
I
matter.
will never understand that at all. Don't get us wrong, we love it. It's very humbling and very, very kind. But like, really? You know my favorite part? Every time somebody says, what's your favorite part of playing Zero? You know what I say? Playing Ichiru.
That
No,
guy
really,
again?
No, really. Yeah, the jerk. Right? No, because you know what? It's, as an actor, it's a lot of fun to play two characters, especially against each other. And so, since we record alone, you record all of one character first. Like we would do all of Zero's lines, start to finish of an episode, and then go back to the beginning and get in a different mindset of Ichiru. And then there'd be these scenes where they're actually talking to each other, and I'm listening to my Zero lines and responding. And that was, as an actor, that was the most fun part of Vampire Night, was playing the two brothers. And they did that because, if you don't know, the Japanese did that. The actor who played Zero in Vampire Night also played his brother. And guess who else he played? Tamaki in Oran High School Host Club.
Wow!
And guess who else he played?
Shut up.
Rin in Free.
No! All you.
So apparently I'm stalking this poor Japanese voice actor. He doesn't even know it. But we've played all these several characters, but we did the same thing that the Japanese did. So
I have a question
Yes.
for either Mela or for Vic. Have you ever met any of the Japanese voice actors that you voiced their characters in English?
I was gonna say Kana Ueda, who she plays like Yuki and Rin. Like we play a lot of the same roles as well. I did get to meet her at Heaven's Feel, And again, you know, you were shaking. You think you're like, I've got this. I've been in the business for like 8 years. Things are, oh my God. Konichi, hi. It's like, we get like fangirl, fanboy. I don't know if you're like that when you see the Japanese original actor. Because I mean, it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen very often.
I've had the privilege to meet a few, but the most notable, without question, is Romy Park, who played Edward Elric in Full Metal. Now, what you need to understand, and I'm speaking for all three of us, but what you guys may not know is when we first listen to a line from a show before we dub it, we hear the Japanese. So we become very familiar with their voices and their performances. And so we come to develop a respect for what they did and an admiration. So I want to tell a story, but I don't want to take up too much time. I'll do it as fast as I can. I was supposed to be a guest at Anime Expo one year with Romy. They were bringing her from Tokyo, and I was living in Texas at the time, and I bought her this beautiful cowboy hat because I saw a picture of her online wearing a cowboy hat. I'm like, I'm from Texas, and I'm gonna bring her a cowboy hat from Texas. And so I got there carrying this box, Stetson box, and they picked me up at the airport and they said, we have some really bad news. I'm like, what? And they're like, Romy's exit visa expired and she can't come. And I was so bummed out. Fast forward 2 years, maybe a year and a half, 2 years later, I had the chance to go to Tokyo to work on a project. And they said, Square Enix was behind the project, and they said, is there anything you want to do while you're here? Do you want to see Mount Fuji? Do you want to visit the temples? I'm like, I want to meet Romy! I have a hat for her!
I know, did you bring your hat?
Yes!
Oh, God.
I did! This hat has seen the world.
Traveling pants.
I'm not kidding you. So Square Enix set up a dinner with me and Romy and Seiji Mizushima, the director of Full Metal Alchemist. Wow. We went to this restaurant in Roppongi, which you may or may not know is like the nightclub district in Tokyo.
If you don't know Roppongi, it's Disney's Tangled. Same thing. It's the same thing.
So I gotta tell you guys, we spent the whole night, like here's me and here's Romy across the table from me, and we each have interpreters, right? Because I don't speak Japanese and she doesn't really speak good English. And so we're looking at each other, just locked eyes, right? And I will say something and then wait for my interpreter to say it, and then she'll go, and she'll say something to her interpreter, and we're just looking at each other. And I gave her the hat, and they have all these pictures. It was so wonderful. And let me just tell you, the next day, I came down to my hotel lobby, and the guy at the hotel lobby said, there is a package for you. And I'm like, what? I'm in Tokyo. Like, why would there be a package for me? Romy had brought by a gift because she felt,
hat?
right?
A Stetson hat?
No boots. With spurs on them. No, she.
Like everybody in Japan.
She knows me. No, listen. She brought this traditional Japanese tea set.
Oh.
Wow.
And it had a message that said, I did not expect you to bring me a gift last night. I felt so bad that I didn't have anything for you. And so she brought this by. Now, last piece, 10 seconds. Several years later, I was getting ready to do an event, and Anime Matsuri, and if you can make it to Anime Matsuri in Houston this year, don't miss it, and I won't tell you why, don't miss it. But they called me and they said, what are you doing the weekend of our show? And I'm like, I'm already booked at this event. And they're like, we're bringing Romy. And I hadn't seen her in probably 6 or 7 years at least. And I was like, dang it. So I called the other convention and I said, can I show up on Saturday and just do one day at Anime Matsuri? So I changed everything around, went to Anime Matsuri, and did a joint panel with Romy. And we titled the panel, Two Eds Are Better Than One. So I know that was a very long, cumbersome
No,
answer
great
to
story.
the question, have you met any of your
Everyone's
Japanese
met you
counterparts?
anyway.
But it was a wonderful experience.
Awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
How about you? Have you met any?
No. The end.
Somebody out there, make some calls. Shoot some emails up.
I have met some of the original producers or directors from Japan that would come to America to watch what was happening on the English version of a show. That show most recently is called Megalobox, and it was a show that I was directing, and those producers and the directors came from Japan. And they were, you know, I am always super worried. You know, I'm cautious, and I just want to be so respectful with everybody's original property when they hand it over to, you know, another country's language to dub something. You want it to be as good as possible. It won't ever be the same, but you want it to be as good as possible. And I'm always surprised. And it was like this when we did the reading of our first episode of Miraculous,
Yeah.
remember? Because
Very
we had like on a Zoom monitor, we had the director, Thomas Strack, on there, and it was nerve-wracking to see how they were gonna watch us read the pilot episode.
To make sure, like, we got the job, and then they were like, we just want you to read to make sure you have the job. And we were like, wait,
so
what?
we could all be fired, in other words. Like, all of us could have been fired if they were like, this doesn't sound good.
And I had just gotten over laryngitis.
I remember.
Like the day before.
Yes, I remember that. I remember.
No pressure.
She didn't have a lot of tiki to do in that episode, but
It's just the highest voice ever in the whole world.
you just have to have a good voice to do it. And they were really very, very pleased, like overwhelmed, so happy, so pleased with what we were doing. And it was like that for Megalobox as well, but I get so nervous that, you know, it won't be received well, or they just want to change everything. And I'm not a perfectionist because that's just silly, you know, but I am someone who wants to do the best that I possibly can do. And I know that perfection, you know, eludes us. We can't really have that, but we can always work and strive towards that, right? And I'm always like, if I deliver an episode, I hope I don't get any notes back. And if I do get like 2 or 3 notes back, like to fix this line or to fix that line, I take that very personally, like, oh, they hate the whole thing. You know what I mean? But it's normal. It's a creative process, and there's adjustments, and there's notes, and there's input, and we got to be flexible with all of that and not take it so personally. But I'm an emotional, personal person, and sometimes I respond emotionally like that, but I try and always manage it and keep it professional.
Now, I've heard both of you gentlemen, they're like, oh, I thought I got fired, I didn't get anything.
Right.
Or, you know, they're just gonna replace me.
Happened, yes, happened. to
Has
me.
that ever happened to you,
Yes,
Vic?
never to Vic.
Yes.
What? Has it really?
You know how they have stars and they'll be like, so which ones were the ones that got away? And you're like, oh, I was going to be in Titanic, or I was going to be in the Fast and the Furious 57.
Right.
So, what role did you get that maybe you were recast?
Well, you know
You
what?
don't know about.
Okay,
What's the
I
one
feel
that
so
got
bad
away?
because I do not want to talk too long, so I'm going to set a timer for 30 seconds.
Okay.
I'm going to answer this question in 30 seconds.
It's gonna be like Eminem's Rap God. You're just gonna go get
Ready?
everything.
Here goes.
Lose yourself in the moment.
Many of you remember ADV Films, which was an anime company in Houston. Well, they got really big and they had a lot of shows, and I was voice acting in a lot of shows. And then they went under. They went out of business, and all of the shows they got, they lost the
15
license to.
15 seconds.
And they were all recast. One of them that I was playing the lead in was Sergeant Frog. Kara Road, Sergeant Kara. I loved that show so much. I bought all these toys, loved it. Gurren Lagann
There, you'll never
was
know.
another one.
Wait, did you get recast in Gurren Lagann?
I was in Gurren Lagann. I played, what was that guy's name? Viral. Thank you.
I was cast as Yori.
Really?
I wasn't cast at all.
And it was the first, and it's okay, I'm all right. But yeah, no, it was like, hold on. And then there
Oh,
were
you
these
mean
two-
during your session?
There were these 2 Japanese people talking, and then they get on, they go click, because there's a talkback mic. 1 more minute. And then they talk, and she's like, Mela, we just, can we talk to you for a minute?
Oof.
And I was apparently I wasn't enough of a tomboy, and I used to speak quite properly, and so it was kind of hard for me at that time. So I got to play Dari instead of the lead, but it was one of those things like, we've just cast you. And then I thought to myself, who did they uncast? Because somebody else probably got the same call, because they were like, they didn't want to like take me down too many notches, but yeah, you're just not right for it. It's
You know
not
what,
your
you
time.
guys,
Yeah.
can you can take something very valuable away from this panel.
Mhm.
You know what it is? We are exactly like you.
Yeah.
We have the same insecurities. We have the same fears. We have the same uncertainties. We have the same hopes. We fail. We don't get opportunities we hoped we would. No different. We're all in it together, you guys. So go home remembering that, okay? And be encouraged that anything is possible for you guys. Anything.
I think
earlier-
all three of us are patron saints of second chances. So it's never too late. You're never too old.
We can pray. We can hope so.
You're drawn perfectly for what God has for you in your life. And I'm very lucky to have had these two gentlemen in my life at a time where I didn't have any direction. And I mean, I thought it was really cool that I'd get to do a few animes. It turned out okay for me. I'm just putting it out there. But at the time, I didn't know what I was going to do with my life. You know, so I don't know if anyone out here is feeling a little lost, or that maybe your dreams aren't going to come true right away. Anybody? Okay. Right? I have lost more jobs than I've gotten, but the jobs that I did get were for me. It took me 20 years to be an overnight sensation. So if your heart is aching for that dream, you may not be good enough for it yet. You may not be ready for it yet. People may not believe in you yet. You may not know how it's going to happen yet. But if it keeps knocking on your heart door, like, there's a reason. Please don't give up. Don't think, oh, I'm 22, it's over now, or I'm 16, I'm a husband. I mean, it's in your heart for a reason. And you will get good enough. The doors will open for you. I don't care if it's that you want to be the greatest accountant in the world, if it's a medical procedure that hasn't worked out. Guys, we just figured out a pandemic in the last 2 years, and all of that stuff is going to help cure cancer. And so anything that you think isn't happening right now, it just may not have happened yet.
Yeah, take things a day at a time, everybody. Don't bite off more than you can chew, you know? You know what I mean? Take it a day at a time. Be the best you can be today. Don't worry about a month from now. Don't worry about, what's going to happen in 5 years. Make the most of today. And you'll be surprised how those days compound and build into something beautiful.
Yeah.
Question?
Yes.
So, in Vampire Night, if Yuki didn't end up becoming a vampire, what do you guys think would be an alternate?
I'm sorry, Kaname. I'm sorry, wait, were you even talking to me? I'm sorry. Vic, did you want to answer that question?
No, I think she was directing it at you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, would you have ended up with 0, or what do you think?
If she were lucky.
We would have, first of all, Yuki
Just happened.
Yuki and Kaname would go to a family therapist.
I felt like the dynamic,
I'd be like, Kaname.
We discuss
I feel like
boundaries.
You demean me sometimes and make me feel small. I know you're 7 feet tall and I'm only 4'6", but it makes me feel small.
Yeah. We would work things out. We would probably get an RV and go, just all of a sudden tour the states.
Another job that he didn't get was
Rescue
to
a
write the
dog.
new manga and season 3 of Vampire Night. I'm so sorry you didn't get that.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a job. That was a job that was pitched to me. They're like, Ezra, would you write season 3 of Vampire Night? I was like, yes.
And
So
the
Yuki
cover
and
has an
Kaname are in an
RV
RV. Yeah. And then they find a time travel machine, and it's a multiverse storyline. It would be great. It would be great. Nobody liked it. Like, you all don't like it.
But I love you. I could listen to these wrong concepts. For quite
I
some
would
time.
like Zero to open a casino.
Okay.
Ooh. Where are we
Yeah.
going with this?
What?
Look at that.
That's all I got so far.
Oh, okay.
Well, at that casino, I would like to open up a seafood buffet that.
I think I just peed a little.
We are having fun. It's the air conditioning's fault. I tell you,
so hot.
our brains are literally melting.
You guys can do anything. We're just gonna entertain each other up here for a while. You're just
Honestly,
sit
I'm going to
in on it.
answer this for everybody in the
Yeah.
room. I think she would have obviously fallen in love with Zero. They
Yes.
would have had an incredible love affair and broken up. You cannot have a successful relationship with someone who doesn't love themselves. I'm serious, beeps, and I mean
That was-
I'm going to speak
that was
personal.
great. That
If
was
somebody
big.
has self-hatred, you cannot love them enough to fill the void.
Deep.
Dang, Yuki.
And
Period.
Kaname would have been in an RV, and I would have been like, still nope.
Oh.
So there's a guy named Jeff, and none of
He works in this casino that Zero opened.
and
Yeah,
Jeff
my
and I are
poker
like-
card dealer.
Yeah, he's a cashier at
He's
the
Hey,
super
Bucky,
hot.
come over from table 6. I have somebody I want you to meet.
We have a hand up. Yes, sir. Yep.
Yes.
I have like a question and a request.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
It's not a good one. Great, perfect. That's just like this panel.
This is what he
It's not a
said.
good one.
He said, I have a question and a request. It's not a good one.
No, not a good
it's
one.
not a good one.
This is for Ezra and Mila.
Yep.
So I'm a fan. Well, this I know it's a Vampire Knight fan, but I'm like a fan of Miraculous.
Okay.
I think everyone knows this.
Yeah.
If there was a crossover with Miraculous Ladybug, if Miraculous had a crossover with any show, which show would it cross over?
Clearly Bob's Burgers. It makes perfect sense. Would there be anything better than that?
No, absolutely not.
That would be so much fun.
Christian Shaw as Miraculous Ladybug.
Yeah, I mean, what they would do is they would have a
The burger
family
miraculous.
swap. All of a sudden,
Yeah.
the Bob's Burgers will be working in Paris at the bakery,
Mm-hmm.
and the Dupain would be, you know,
Tiki eats
running the burger
burgers
shop.
all the time.
Yeah.
She needs a burger. And then she gets like a little, she's already a little round, let's
She is.
admit it. But she'd have like a double round at the bottom. And
Cute.
Yeah.
All right, so a little Family Guy crossover.
Yeah. She'd be all about burgers.
I'm curious. That's
Yes.
a great request. That's a great question. What is the crossover show you have in your
Yes.
mind for Marima? Huh? You knew it was going to be a bad request.
How bad was it?
Yeah. Miraculous with.
With?
Oh gosh, I can't believe this. I was gonna say Ruby.
Yes!
You would love that.
I would.
Great call.
Like seeing them like interact.
Miraculous will prevail. Yeah.
Sorry, that's my Ruby fan.
Nice,
Sorry.
nice.
Either that or Full Metal, but that's not gonna work.
No, wouldn't work with Full
No.
Metal. Excellent. Thank you for your question.
Thank you, man.
Oh, yes, we have a question. I see it.
What was your favorite line in Oran?
Those are the hardest questions in
Yeah.
panels.
Every word ever spoken.
Yeah.
I love Tamaki. Everything. You know what? There were so many great lines. I mean, everybody knows, you've seen the videos of what if I let you drink it from my mouth?
Right.
Right? And then I would drink it. I mean, the first episode of Oran was so full of so many great lines, like the whole Commoner's Coffee thing and all that kind of stuff. Long live the poor and all that kind of stuff. Too many to even name. What's your favorite? Yeah, see? It's not easy, is it? What's your favorite? Yes. The Commoner's Coffee. Questions?
Yes.
In the, wait.
Which one?
I was gonna say in the very back.
We'll go in the very back. We'll work
And
up
then
to you,
we'll work our
Ariel.
way back up, yeah? Yes.
Yes.
Out of context.
Does the time that I farted in the booth while we were recording count? Or do you need context for that? Do you need
Definitely
context?
not context.
What happened was I had Chipotle for lunch. And about an hour and a half later, I was in the session. We were working. It's hot like this. Got real farty like in here right now.
Like this
No,
morning?
I'm kidding. Like this morning? What do you mean like this morning? Would you quit it? It's true. All right. So for a little context, I'm coming out of the Marriott, which we stayed at this weekend. And I don't know, have you ever gotten into an elevator with just one other person before? I did this morning. And that person decided to pass wind while I was there, silently. So it was trouble.
The old SBD.
Yes, the SBD, that silent but deadly. And, you know, I just sort of stood there, and I'm sure that person knew quite well what had happened. And I was like, I really can't believe that this still happens. Like, you know, you would think it's just 6 floors, but no.
You should have just turned to him and said,
You farted, didn't you?
Chipotle? Is there a
Next
Chipotle
question.
nearby?
Yes. And then we have a mermaid to speak to.
Oh, yes.
So, I was wondering, okay, what, like, as comedy, what's your actual opinion on Kato and Hikaru, other than what's directly stated at the animation?
Hey, why would I contradict the actual script from the show, right? I mean, they're the homosexual supporting cast. Right? That's what he says. I didn't write it. I just said it. But I love the twins are just hilarious. And Greg and Todd did such a great job with them. The entire cast. I mean, everybody in that show was just spot on. But I love the twins. I love the dynamic between the twins and Tamaki and how they always gave them a hard time. I love it. Question? Yes.
Mermaid?
Oh, wait, that's right. I'm so sorry. You're next. Where's Little Mermaid?
Yeah.
In Vampire Night, Yuki says that Kaname is born her older brother, but then Kaname says that if he was truly born her older brother, then it would happen. So, what are they?
Wow. What are they to each other? So complicated. Is anyone else confused about what are they to each other? And you think we know the answer?
Yeah.
You love
guys
the
are-
show like nobody's business. You devour it, and it's still a confusion.
Raise your hand if you know what we are to each other.
Yeah. Does anyone know what we
Anyone?
are to each other?
Okay,
Oh, okay,
yeah.
what are we?
Yes. Kaname and Yuki are.
Why am I blanking out on names again? There's what's it called? Wait, like full intensity manga. I don't know how many have like read the manga fully.
That's exactly how we were.
That's
gonna answer the
exactly
question.
what we were going to say.
Literally. It's but what they are to each other is but so Kaname and Yuki and the and
Technically, the term
Yeah,
is you know, like. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So wait,
Okay,
it's
okay,
like
wait,
this.
oh,
You
yeah.
know how like when you have a dog and it has a litter, and then there's all those puppies, and then you decide to keep one of the puppies, but then all the other, and then all of a sudden it's kind
But
of
you're
like
at this dog park.
it's not like
And they were raised totally separately.
Totally separate, then
but
all of a sudden they see
get
each other,
along,
and they're like,
I
"Hey,
have
why are
to
we
feel
vibing
it."
so much?
Right?
That's weird. We got a great
What
vibe
are
going
we
on.
to each other?
Yeah,
But yeah, that.
it's a little bit like that.
It is.
So they're basically puppies from the same litter,
Yes.
right?
I don't know if they're from the same family.
Maybe prison cellmates
From the same
in the
genus.
past?
Yes, from the same genus.
Okay,
Yeah.
there you go.
Okay, anybody else?
Yes, we had a
uncomfortable
question in
with
the back,
that?
yeah.
Sorry.
I'm sorry? What about him? Oh,
That son of a... Every panel I'm at! Ah!
Chris is one of the most talented voice actors out there. He's kind of legendary, no pun intended. But yeah, he's an amazing voice actor and director, producer. Like he's been around a long time. Back when I started, I think he and just a couple other people were doing Dragon Ball in Dallas many, many years ago. But he's super, super talented guy. Question? Anybody?
Yes.
We'll get one second.
Okay, so Vic, I know you were taken off as Crow, and I stopped watching it when that happened. did they bring you back, or are you still? And would you go back?
Oh well, I would go back to any role I've ever played. I love what I do, and it has nothing to do with money.
Yeah.
I've loved what I've done. I told my panel. You guys in my panel yesterday? Anybody?
Yeah.
I told them yesterday that I feel so grateful to God to have ever had the chance to do what I do. I didn't plan on it. I didn't knock on a lot of doors and send out resumes and record demo tapes and beat on, all the time and trying to get in and push through. The door opened and I walked through having no idea what was on the other side of it. And I am blessed more than I ever deserved. And I know that even now, if nothing else ever happened for me. I will be honest with you and vulnerable and tell you that it scares me to say that out loud, because I do love what I've had the chance to do, and I love you guys, and I love that people appreciate the work that I've done, and I feel like I'm not over the hill, right? I mean, I still have the same skills that I always had.
You're basically the Tom Cruise of anime.
Yeah,
Let's
be honest.
Except I'm 5'7.5", all right?
You're way taller than Tom Cruise. You're way taller.
Way taller.
Way taller.
But you know what? Let me just bring it back to what you asked. I love what I do, and the most heartbreaking thing would be to have created or originated characters that you don't get to play anymore. I would play all of them all over again. I would take any opportunity that was given to me. Unfortunately, it's not my decision, but I sure love you guys for appreciating what I've done over the years. So
we are now at the end of our panel, and we're going to have to move on. But one thing I would like to request, if you're comfortable in doing so, I'd like to get a photograph on my camera with Mela and with Vic and with
And you
y'all
guys-
behind us.
Oh,
if you
yeah.
want to be behind us, because this again, remember,
yeah,
is
she'll
our
come up and take a photo.
unofficial Vampire Night reunion.
Yeah, if you could crowd like.
give it up for this awesome human being right here too.